I think the climate change, the challenge is real. We need global scale solutions, and nothing better to start off with the esteemed panel looking at generation side, because obviously we want to decarbonize the electricity sector as a first hurdle for net zero transition. So any of the countries which have announced certain targets for net zero goal, probably electricity sector in each of those countries has to decarbonize at least 10 years ahead. And luckily we have with electricity sector, wind and solar as the two technologies which have already matured and are scaling up. But still we are looking at possibly 5 to 10x scale up in these deployment of these technologies in next 15 years. So the opportunity is great. There are a lot of improvements happening. So without further delay, I would request each of the panelists to share their initial remarks. If possible, keep it to 3 minutes so that we can have a quick round of discussion amongst us. But also, I would be keen to see if there are any questions from the audience. So we'll leave 10 minutes for that as well. So maybe Mr. Gopan, I'll start with you. You can share your thoughts.
Good morning, everyone. So I am Gopan. I am the CTO for Envision Energy. We are into wind turbine manufacturing. We are into the onshore side as well as on the offshore side. We are also into the BESS, utility scale BESS, manufacturing the LFP chemistry batteries, and we give turnkey solution. Apart from that, we are into the electrolyzer also to develop the green hydrogen as well as the derivative like ammonia. So we are also into setting up the net zero industrial park, wherein we can put it all together, integrate it well with a good digital technology solution which we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gopan. I think you have started off on a really fast track. So Priya, no pressure, but handing it over to you for your opening remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here as a speaker. It's really a great topic. It's not only important for India, it's important globally as we are going through the energy transition. And Sujoy, I think keynote was a fantastic speech. He already touched all the points that we need to talk, so maybe there might be some repetition that you will see here. So I am from Siemens Gamesa. Currently, I do work in the wind space, but prior to this, I have quite a bit of experience working in the solar space. One of the important things which Sujoy already touched is the manufacturing. I think that's something we probably need to have more sessions on how we can improve the manufacturing. Tremendous capability, but we are not there yet in terms of what we can do in India. And India also needs to focus on how we can increase the renewable capacity additions. And then a third point is the skills, the manpower. We have a lot of people, a lot of engineers coming out, but we still have a hard time hiring the right people. So I think those are things that needs to be talked.
Sure. So now switching gear to solar, Dinesh.
Hello everyone, myself Dinesh. I'm a teacher cum entrepreneur. I teach physics when I'm in department, but when it comes to do research, then I have my own team sitting in IIT Bombay. We collaborate heavily with industry partners like Sujoy and some crystal and silicon people. And whatever was basically being discussed, that yes, situation is scary, but it will not help to get scared. We have to work out the solutions. We had to do what we can, what is already established, but at the same time, we have to keep our investment secured by the innovations. We cannot basically do the commodity business here to make our country sustain the growth. And in all those aspects, we need to really do back integrations. We have to have our equipment solutions. We have to have skilled people around us. We need to have the raw materials. So when at IIT Bombay, we started doing all these things with some of the new materials which are yet to be deployed. There are challenges, but those are being solved rapidly in the form of tandem solar cell technology, where we have been finding the solutions, and we hope that that can be a game changer, and where we will not have the dependence on a single geography. So we'll be discussing what can be done good in established technologies. Yes, PERC is set up, but There are lots of new things within silicon, and with silicon can we add perovskite or even with the cattle, and that can be the futuristic technology where we'll have everything from our own country. Thanks.
Thank you, Dinesh. Now for the final opening remarks, Navjit, handing it over to you.
Thanks, Rahul. Very good morning to all of you. Thanks for having me here. Gentari is a Petronas company, and we are actually a true blue energy company and working in all areas of hydrocarbons as well as the synthetic molecule, that's hydrogen. Besides being an IPP in India, it's not only the electron that is of interest to us. We are setting up a facility, a green ammonia facility, and as a part of our joint venture, we could be making the first actual energy exports of molecules produced on Indian soil and exporting them over the globe. So we are working on that. We operate in the spheres of setting up generation facilities for supply of electricity to utilities, to CNI, as well as to our own projects. So for us, sourcing is very important. We source within country, the made in India equipment, and we also need equipment from outside in order to make the molecule attractive for exports globally. So that's in short about us and our view, and we can take the discussions forward. Thanks, Rahul.
No, thank you very much. And again, I thank all the four panelists for sticking to the time and leaving a good opportunity for interaction. So taking cue from Sujoy's sort of a roadmap what Sujoy laid out, I think in India now we have actually great opportunity. We have a big vision of looking at 500 gigawatt non-fossil generation deployment. Lot of activities happening with different ministries, laying targets, different PSUs as well as agencies, setting up a roadmap for various tenders. But at the same time, there are some split personality things happening where on one side we are expecting make in India, we are expecting India to manufacture for the globe, but at the same time for some of these projects we are still very heavily dependent on, if not entire technologies like in case of advanced batteries, at least for the component level dependent on the global supply chain. There is also a lot of hope and wish list about just technology transition where, oh, we missed the last bus, but we'll just catch the next bus without really building and developing the capability. So maybe a open question to all four of you for each of the areas. If you can talk about what is a technology roadmap which you see which will enable India to really be in the race as the next 10-year transition is happening, and do you see any gaps which we need to address between academia and industry, not just on a technical side, but also going slightly beyond technical from the business aspects, from even policy aspect? What are the things which together we should work on so that we have a realistic chance of taking a lead? So maybe I'll start this time with Priya. Maybe you can start.
Yeah, I think the prospects, I'm not going to go into the detail of the prospects. We do understand the prospects of solar and wind is there. Okay, we just going to how we take advantage of it, how we use it is what's key. The challenges with respect to onshore, we do have a challenge with all the time with the land. That is one of the key challenges that we face. There are wonderful wind sites, but taking the power, the grid infrastructure is not there in some of those sites. So that's a technology also that needs to be looked into it, how we can make a better infrastructure for the grid. And also the transmission, the interstate transmission policies needs to be revised. Today, there are some states which cannot generate a lot, but there are some states that can generate. But how we can take advantage of the states that can generate and then transmit interstates. Maybe there should be policies that should be allowing 50 to 70% of the peak power to transmit it. So these are things that needs to be addressed from the policies perspective. One key area that we have not talked about is quality. Okay, we talk about supply chain all the time and why in India we have not developed the supply chain. One of the things that I do see, on operation from the operational perspective is the quality, I think, needs to be looked further for some of the suppliers in India. We are not having the right mindset. Simple things like sheet metal processing, the process is there. But if we have 50 samples that we are taking from another country, for example, the quality of the Chinese supplier, in many cases, we do see it's better than Indian supplier. So we have to work on this. We do work very closely with a lot of suppliers to see how we can make this better. Simple things like powder coating, it's not great. You know, the finish is not great. But what is wrong in this, right? Why, there's nothing big technology there. It's just a mindset needs to be changed. So that's another area that needs to be focused. I'll come to the skills. With respect to the supply chain for solar, we have a big capacity with respect to modules, and cells are upcoming. But where is the R&D for the cells? How are we going to improve the efficiency of the cells? Who is working on the R&D? We are still dependent on technology from other countries with respect to the actual technology and with respect to the equipments. We are buying equipments from another country. So this is the area that we need to focus on, how we can have our own technology innovation. And on the upstream of solar, wafers, polysilicon, these are things are not today, India is not having the capacity. Adani is working on it, but we are still not meeting all the capacities that India needs. And for this, the skill that we need is, we need more of material science people, semiconductors, material science. This is an area that, there are engineers coming out, but there are not many people are really working on material science as their core area with respect to coming for the job. So this is another area that needs to be looked at. Another thing that I also see is with respect to grid. There are not many engineers who are really experts on grids. You know, I know from the undergraduate level, from the curriculum perspective, the focus is not a lot of focus is done on grid, but from the curriculum perspective, maybe that needs to be revised and looked into, okay, what is industry is needing today? Well, we are integrating lot of renewable energy into the grid. We are facing a lot of grid challenges. The grid integration is a big problem. So we need engineers who can focus on it, focus on grid modeling. Very hard to hire good people in terms of grid modeling, grid integration. So these are things that needs to be focused.
No, thank you. I think you raised a lot of key points, including quality, where many times I see in media, the perception is that, oh, people are going to China only for cheap prices. But actually what has happened in last decade in China in terms of, at least for some of the technologies, in terms of the innovation, in terms of the quality and scale is amazing. So maybe switching to Gopanji, can you share your thoughts in terms of the technology roadmap and what we need to do here in India?
See, in terms of renewable energy, whether it is wind or solar, or now we talk about the storage, energy storage, technology is the requirement, that is the minimum requirement. And we see that a lot of technologies are coming from the outside world, and it is not groomed here. Definitely, we have reached to some level, but then right from the initial innovation, breakthrough technology, this we are far from what is happening in Europe or US or even in China now. So we have to progress. We can't just adopt it. But as of today, we see in terms of the usage in India, the implementation, whether it is in the wind side, we have the lowest LCOE turbine. That's the reason that more installation is happening. And also the capacity addition is there, means 15 gigawatt production capacity for the wind, maybe 63 gigawatt production for the solar. So this all is happening, but behind that, the core technology for the LCOE reduction, manufacturing process, these are the areas where we need to focus on. If we have some technologies in hand, definitely we need to see how we have to improve it also. So at least that part we need to address. So this is the way we have to progress. Otherwise, we can't use our resource well, the wind resource or whether it is solar resource. looks cheap, but if it is not utilized well, it is not good. So we have to utilize it. So we should have an efficient equipment, reliable components, because these things has to go for 20, 25 years. And now the industry is expecting that wind turbine should operate till 30, 35 years. So definitely it has to go for a long years. So the technology which is built and manufactured, that should last for that many years without degradation, whether it is a battery degradation or solar cell degradation or the performance of the turbine, that should not degrade as the operating life goes on. So this is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Dinesh, your thoughts on what's required for the solar roadmap and how we do jump the...
So what I believe is that what we have done on this planet, we are the only one who is China plus one. And we are the only hope for this planet. And we are sitting with close to 500 people sitting here, want to hear that what can be done. Whatever the gap that is there is all about mindset. And because we come from very different background. As Sujay was telling that I had to struggle with MNRE for more than a year to get something which is very important and is being discussed globally. But we come from different background. It was really being tested. You will do, you will do, you will do. And I was like, yes, I will. If I would have got tired, I'm a faculty, I am very happy in life, I can go for morning walk, evening walk in my campus. And nobody will touch me. Full professor, all promotion done. So it's all about mindset. I was ready to deliver, and I convinced the people. They got convinced. We have the people who are not willing to leave country, want to work with us now, because I told them there is a future here. We developed the raw material, electronic grades. We developed the equipment solutions. Means when we'll be soon getting those equipments which are built in India. When in the last Reinvest meeting, Sujay was moderating the session, asked Fraunhofer ex-director, can India make the Fraunhofer? He bluntly said no. Then I asked, why do you have people from different planet? And Mr. Tarun Kapoor was sitting in the audience just in front of us. Okay, if you guys give the trust to us, give one order with less budget, we'll make UNSW Fraunhofer in our country. And I'm committed. We'll do that. In coming few years, we'll be developing the futuristic technology in India. We'll be supporting all the industry guys. People are coming to NCPRE. I have my own company, Art PV India, Advanced Renewable Tandem Photovoltaics, where we have committed that we will be basically on edge with respect to the rest of the world. And industries are also believing in us. Days are gone when the industries were reluctant to give few lakhs. We have commitments in crores. And we even got the first tranche of the budget from the industry. And those all are in crores. Because they also want to test whether there will be some delivery or not, whether that adds up to the business or not. So I see that, yes, there's a right wind right now. Hawa achhi hai. And people are believing, who are ready to say that we'll deliver. And this risk is very small. We are talking the billion-dollar industries here, sitting here, trillion-dollar industry sitting here, and we are asking few millions. We have now, what is this new DST plan? ANRF. Any startup goes and asks for the 5 crore. Government is giving 5 crore to a private company. But people has to come forward. Yes, I will deliver. Problem is mindset, not only with government. Whose government? We are the government. So people have to come forward and say that I will deliver, money will be given. We have to prepare a task force. There are people who are interested in working, pay right remunerations to them. Don't say that, okay, thode mein kaam chal jayega. So if we have to do innovations, we have to basically on edge, then we have to change the mindset, and I do not have any complaints. Actually, I'm seeing everything is changing. So I'll stop here.
Yeah. No, thank you, Dinesh. Again, it's great to see the confidence and faith and ability to work within the system to deliver the kind of innovation. 2 years back, I was sitting here in the same auditorium listening to Dr. Ashish Lele from NCL talking about some of the innovation on the hydrogen side and how NCL was able to deliver new design for electrolyzers at a budget which is possibly what some of the developed countries are giving to their scientists for 1 year, and NCL using the same budget over a 7-year period and delivering it. So again, in terms of the frugal innovation, that's great. But what I just wish is, as we are looking at reimagining the innovation and R&D and technology commercialization with NRF, we start also valuing time. Because I think taking pride that we are spending a budget what other countries are taking for 1 year and spending it over 7 years, that means actually we are not giving enough resources to the scientists and capable people who have opportunity to work anywhere in the world, but choosing to work in India and not making it. So I hope that we can change that mindset so that the brightest minds can actually deliver, and we don't always keep on having this discussion why we are trying to catch the next bus, but we will be on the bus. And obviously the next challenge in this is hydrogen. So maybe Navjit ji, I'll request you to share in terms of the hydrogen roadmap, where you see the gap, because there is a lot of now hype on especially green hydrogen. We already have lots of announcements, targets for 2030. When I talk to Tarun Kapoor ji or many of the people at MNRE, they are saying, oh, we don't need to go year by year roadmap because already PSCs have committed to go 50% green hydrogen by 2030. But my worry is I don't see that commitment for next 12 months, next 18 months, next 24 months, and all the investment decisions need to happen right now. We are not going to just automatically get to $1 hydrogen in 2030 where there are commitments signed. So how do you see this roadmap and what needs to be done?
Yeah, sure. So essentially the proof of every concept, like for example, what we are producing, whether we are producing electron in India, or we are going to be producing the molecule in India and exporting it outside, is that you have to have a buyer for that. And you have to have a manufacturing process which is not based on incentives. PLI cannot make an ultimate producer sustainable who's going to be producing electrons or energy over the next 25, 30 or 40 years. That model does not work. You have to produce, and you should be in a position to export competitively, globally. That's how we see it. And that's the basis of making multi-billion-dollar investments in the country. The whole idea is that the policy framework has to be enabled, and the government has been very supportive on that. Keeping in view the paucity of time, what's important is I will just list out 3 areas on which we are working, and there is a very favorable response, but the policies are being made because at the same time, please remember that the molecule is getting ready for manufacture and export. So the policies are very, very critical out here. For example, for export facilities, which are going to be exporting the molecule from India, making India an energy exporter, what's important is if those projects are structured as export-oriented units or special economic zones, there has to be clarity on the electrons, how you will be segregating your wind projects. Solar is not a problem, it's a contiguous area, it is a limited ring-fenced area, but how you will be designating your wind projects, which could be spread over hundreds of square kilometers, massive wind projects, 300, 500 wind turbines installed as EOUs. How you will, number 2, look at the migration of the electron between the domestic tariff area of the national grid as well as the export-oriented units, how you will designate that. And number 3, if for any reasons you still have to make sale of electricity from an export-oriented unit or a special economic zone to a domestic tariff area, what will be the restrictions, how the RLMM, ALMM will be handled. Those clarities, those policies, it is spread over various ministries, the government is working on it, but I'm sure with a progressive mindset that we have, we should be able to achieve clarity on these in the next 12 to 18 months. Then the actual renewable energy game will start. Right now, it's essentially renewable electricity what is being worked at. Then you'll have a molecule which can be stored, which can be transported, which can be converted from liquid to gaseous phase, gaseous to liquid at the customer's premises. So then it will be an actual synthetic molecule which will serve the purpose of singularity, which means the same molecule can be used for marine propulsion, for marine transportation, for aviation, and for surface mobility. So thanks, Rahul.
No, thank you very much. I think this is really interesting. I'd request if there are any one or two questions, people to line up. Yeah.
I just wanted to add one thing. When Navjit was talking, I just recalled one thing, and we had a discussion today during breakfast. The most successful industry in India is plastic industry, which adds India's 5% GDP. That's what I was told by one of the R&D head of Reliance. How did that happen? Many of you might not be knowing because you are sending your kids for the PACE or LN or something to clear JE. But many foreigners comes to India for 2 years after 10th, do the job with the kids and JE clear kiya, and then they go back to the foreign country. I have seen in IIT. How many of you know something called CPET?
Anyone? Okay, few hands.
I could see 4 or 5 hands. Yeah. We need to convince MNRE. If we want to see a success of renewable energy, we want our own CPETs, sort of things, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 25 CPETs in our country. Everything happens in CPET is pure translational. 100% placement. I had this thing in my mind. I briefly discussed in MNI once, but I felt that if we really want to fill the skill gap, then we need that kind of things. We have IITs. IITs will be doing blue sky research. It will be difficult for IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi kind of institutions to do really fill up those technological gap. We'll be doing next level of innovations, but we want to serve the industries, then we need CPET kind of institutes. And that will surely solve the problem, and we'll certainly be leader worldwide. Thanks.
Sure. No, thank you very much, Dinesh, for those insights. So again, if there is a question, please come to the mic. Otherwise, I'll take the opportunity to ask the last question to the panelists, because many times I think we have this tendency that we tend to look for a silver bullet or like a perfect technology which is going to solve all the problem. But when you are fighting a war, you need a complete portfolio of weaponry, and that's what is ultimately required when we are trying to go for net zero. So it's not about just how do you scale solar or how do you scale offshore wind or hydrogen, but we need a complete portfolio of multiple technologies which will help us move towards net zero. It's not just a destination, but it's a journey. And there ultimately we need multiple technologies as well as skilled workforce. And for that, I think these type of solutions, what you mentioned about CPET, is very much required. So with this, I'd like to again thank all the panelists for their insightful comments.